Right then, so if you are watching this live, this is going to be my Justice League live review. If you are watching it back, then obviously this is something different on the channel and is a live review of Justice League. Basically, I'm putting as much effort into this review as they did that film, or that is kind of what I tweeted out. I mean, first and foremost, the film, like I normally do, is I'll kind of give it, you know, should you go and see it? Yeah, I guess. I can't wholeheartedly kind of recommend this film. It's not bad. However, it has a $300 million budget, and it's not apparent. Like, you don't see that budget anywhere. Absolutely anywhere, in fact, which is a real shame. Mainly, I guess, some set locations, but on a whole, you really cannot see it. The characters are neither here nor there, to be perfectly honest. Ben Affleck looks like he's either constipated in most of the shots, or like he's got out of bed and basically just doesn't want to be there, which is baffling. Because he's playing Batman, and that should be most people's dream, especially coming from someone who allegedly was a massive fan of Batman, so that doesn't really make any sense. The offshot of that is you do have some really, really good characterizations in, you know, Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot was great. Ezra Miller was reasonably good, although you can clearly see the reshoots, and they've obviously force-fed him to be comedic relief, and it's too much. Like way too much. Aside from that, it was fine. It was absolutely fine. It's nothing special. Jason Momoa, he does a good kind of I'm a cool dude impression, and his water scenes were good. I'll give him that. 100% his water scenes were fine. They were absolutely fine. But on a whole, the kind of individual powered characters, again, like Cyborg, he was fine. He was absolutely fine. Like the CGI of him was probably some of the better CGI out of the entire film. But the kind of main issue is just that when they all come together, as you know, as they've kind of force-fed that song down your throats, as they all come together, there's no discernible or distinguishable power set between them. So you've got, well, you know, you've got Aquaman, who, you know, for all intents purposes, is basically just an amphibian. He doesn't do anything with regards to water throughout the entire film. Does absolutely nothing in terms of his fighting anyway. So that's pointless. Don't really understand what his deal was at all. Like, I understand it will come into play further down the line, but you've got all these different people with all these different powers, and all they do is punch or, you know, swing a sword around. It's crap. You know, and well, it basically just begs the question, why? What was the point? You know, they could have done something better. Is more the point to, you know, what I'm trying to make here. Aside from that, one good thing, again, like, there was the discernible power in terms of Ezra Miller. It's a bit difficult to get him to do anything without him using the Speed Force, but I will say the effect of the Speed Force was not very good at all, in fact. And again, reiterating this throughout this review, is it was $300 million, and his you know, speed effect was nowhere near as good as what Fox did with Quicksilver in the X-Men Days of Future Past. Was it Days of Future Past? First Class, whatever. Basically, the one where Quicksilver's in. It's not even on par. It's nowhere even close to that, in fact. There's a scene, which you've seen in some of the trailers, where he runs around, basically running around like a, like a cylindrical thing, and he pokes Wonder Woman's sword. Now, in that scene, I'm sure when you've watched that trailer, you would go, awesome, this is going to be fantastic. What's going to happen here is he's going to, you know, you're going to see all this stuff before this scene, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be this big, long-winded, super amazing Speed Force scene. No. And you barely see him at all. In fact, you just watch some lightning go around this cylinder, this tunnel, and then he just randomly pops up and pokes the sword. It's crap. It's absolutely rubbish. There is one or two good bits, but again, there's nothing which is a standout. Oh, here's the Speed Force, and here's him really displaying his powers. It's just nonsense. It's not that good at all. One major thing, which actually made me laugh and made my friend laugh, because I went to watch it with a buddy of mine, and also probably about 90% of the theatre, is Henry Cavill's lip. Now, a lot of you might not be aware, but he was filming Mission Impossible, he was basically filming Mission Impossible whilst the reshoots took place, and Paramount refused to allow him to shave the mustache off. So he has a CGI'd top lip, basically, and boy, do you know it. I mean, really. I guess I'm kind of getting into some slight spoilers here, but nothing major. He's basically in the first scene, opening to the film, and it was, I mean, that's a bad way to open a film, is looking at this weird rubbery lip moving around on this guy's face. It's horrendous. And I'm not just saying that, like, it is genuinely not very good at all. The thing that baffles me with this film is, again, and I will repeat this, it's $300 million. You could give that to Africa, for God's sake, and you could resolve all of their, well, probably not all their issues, but do you know what I mean? That's $300 million, and you can't even get the top lip of a character's face like any better than a computer game. It's terrible. The villain is basically nothing, and again, the villain's CGI is, and I go back to the effects because it's all to do with the money on this film. The effects of that film and the villain especially is no better than Alien vs Predator 2010 graphics. It is terrible graphics, and again, you just think, I can't help but think to myself, this is $300 million, and you've got, Oat Studios, for instance, putting out better graphics, or on par graphics, should I say. They're not better, they're on par with their Unity work, those short videos that they're doing. If Oat Studios don't have $300 million, they don't even have a couple $1 million. I highly doubt it. Yes, they've got a deal going with Unity, but they don't have anywhere near the special effects budget that Justice League did. And it's laughable, basically. The motivations to the villain are fine, I guess. It's very vague comic book motivations. He wants to come and take over the Earth. He tried once and he failed. It's fine. Like, I accept that that's comic book motivations, basically. But his interactions with the mother boxes was very weird. He was calling them mother, and yet he understood what they were in terms of them being a powerful technological device. Yet he was bowing to them in certain scenes and calling them mother. What? What? It doesn't make any sense. Literally treating them like a god, but not, because obviously they're his device. It's super strange, very, very strange. There were some good Easter eggs, in the movie here and there. There are some very, very good scenes. Like, it's not a bad film, but it's just nothing. And you look at it and you go, this could have been very, very good. It should have been very good. DC have arguably the best comic book characters, and it should have been very, very good, but it wasn't. The one thing to kind of note is as well, is in the opening crawl you see Zack Snyder as director. Joss Whedon is not credited as director, but he is credited as screenplay. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this movie, and no one does, realistically. No one does at all. No matter what you say, you don't. Only the people that worked on it realistically know. But you can definitely tell where the reshoots had happened. There are a lot of reshoots. And a lot of the reshoots are noticeable because of Henry Cavill's lip. Obviously, first and foremost, because that's terrible. But you can definitely tell, and you can also tell that, they obviously released Wonder Woman, because this was filming directly after Batman vs Superman. So they obviously started filming Justice League, then Wonder Woman came out, and everyone was blown away by Wonder Woman. And then you can 100% tell where they went, crap, we have to make this like Wonder Woman. We've got to make this more and more like Wonder Woman. So that's why they've shoehorned Ezra Miller in as comedic relief. You've got Jason Momoa again doing his best impression of like, you know, some cool surfer dude. You know, you've seen the clips he basically doesn't really say much more than the clips in the trailers in terms of my man and, you know, all this kind of stuff. That is basically his character, which like he does a good job as it. It's fine, it's believable, I guess. But I'm sure it's like that in real life, so I don't really understand whether you take that as believable or not. But you can definitely tell that the reshoots have taken place, and you can definitely tell that they're quite extensive. Again, a lot of people will protest this fact, but just go and watch the film. You can see the tonal shifts. You can see it. Aside from that, kind of standouts and things, realistically to me, there's nothing that actually stands out about this movie. The main standout is really just how did it go so wrong with the effects. Again, I repeat, it's $300 million spent on this film, and the effects again are no better than, you know, a computer game, no better than what Oats Studios are doing with Unity, and that's bad. You know, when your $300 million budget does not do better than an independent South African, studio. Basically, it doesn't make any sense to me. Also, one other thing, just to really note, the pace of the film. You know, once you've seen it, you'll know why they've chopped it down to 2 hours, because again, it's $300 million. It's chopped down to 2 hours so they can get more screenings in. And the pace of the film does actually suffer a little bit as a result of that. It kind of goes from 0 to 60 to the end really quickly, basically. You know, there's a very odd breakneck midway through where they... It's not a spoiler. Superman comes back. We all know he's coming back. It's not a spoiler. But basically, middle of the film, bang, they randomly know how to resurrect Superman, and they resurrect him, and then the film's basically over. It's super weird. So, look, this is basically my live review. Like I said, I'm putting as much effort into this review as they clearly did with that film. It's not a bad film. It's just bland, and it could have been so much better. Do I recommend you go and see it? Probably. Mainly just for the spectacle that is Henry Cavill's lip. Aside from that, I can't massively recommend it. It's a real shame as well, because this film follows up Wonder Woman, which I did a review on, and I still stand by this review. Wonder Woman is, without a shadow of a doubt, DC's best movie to date. Justice League does not compare to Wonder Woman at all. But obviously that's just my opinion. Again, if you liked this film, I've got nothing against you guys whatsoever. We're all adults here. I can dislike films, you can like them. I can like films and you can dislike them. That's, grown adults do that, right? So on a whole, if you've seen the film, when this video goes up for main subscribers, please drop in below with your thoughts on the film in the comment section. Whether you agree with anything I've said, whether you disagree with it. I don't think I'm ever going to make this live review thing, basically a thing on the channel. But, if you did enjoy this kind of review, then, please let me know in the comments below. As always, guys, if you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more in the future. As always, I've been Mr. H. Until next time, I will catch you in the comment section.